Hi folks, this is Dr. Rob CYWES, and this is going to be a very controversial video, but it's, I believe, a very, very important video. Not for all you wealthy aristocrats that can buy anything you want to, but for a large proportion of my patient population who are really trying hard to be healthy, but they have fixed limited income and limited access. And also, I'd like some feedback if you are a food manufacturer, if you are a food maker or a producer of animal products or vegetable products, let me know how we can help you to still make a profit, but do it at a cost level perspective that the majority of my patients find comfortable enough. So what are we talking about? Folks, I get a lot of pushback from so many of my patients, often on the lower socioeconomic scale, which is fine. You know what? We've all been through that. I went through that as a student. We've all had our times when we've been on fixed budgets. And not only that, I'm kind of miserly. I'm not going to overspend on stuff. So the question is, if you want to follow a ketogenic diet, is it cost effective? What is the cost effect? How can it be cost effective? Because so often we get promoted all this grass-fed, natural, hormone-free, blah, 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 blah. You know what? None of that bullshit matters if you're sitting there with a bag of Skittles or M&Ms or a tub of ice cream, because that's the enemy. The carbohydrates are the enemy. So whether you're going to drink artificial sweeteners, if you're going to have a Fresca or a Diet Coke, I just don't care. Get rid of the carbohydrates. It doesn't always have to be $2 or $3 water. It can be water from the tap. I drink tap water every single day. In fact, my coffee is made with tap water. That's the majority of the water I drink. It's flavored with coffee, but that's what I drink. Where do I get my coffee from? People have been very generous and sent me lovely coffee, thanks to Reed most recently. However, I'll go to the cheapest store. Yes, I am a Walmart shopper, but I'll go there, I'll go to Publix, I'll go to Aldi's, and I will look for the specials. Even Starbucks has a BOGO sometimes or a half price, and that's when I buy my stuff. I'm cheap in that regard. My purpose in terms of my nutrition is to eat for under $10 a day. Under $10 a day. I don't always get it right. I sometimes do splurge, but I try to eat under $10 a day on average for my entire food. Now, how do we accomplish that? First of all, do I think that grass-fed and hormone-free is better? Absolutely, no question about it. But not at the price that is often charged. I just bought as a gift for someone who did something wonderful to me, a package of Omaha steaks. Well, we got 8 fillets and 4 lobster tails for them. It was a very special gift to a special person, but it was like $216. Great if you can afford that. If you're Elon Musk, hey, buy that for all your friends. Hey, Elon, I'll take some. But you know what, guys? That's just meat and fish, meat and seafood. I can get from Aldi's a can of 12 sardines for $1.16. I can get a can of sardines. I can get a can of haddock for less than $1.50. And this is in America, folks. And I think what's important is to be able to eat and drink on a reasonable budget, because I don't want the argument that fast food is cheaper. You can get a whole chicken at Costco for under $5. At Walmart, you can get a whole roast chicken for under $6. That's cheaper than a Big Mac. It's cheaper than any Taco Bell or Wendy's meals that you could possibly buy. And the quality of that food is really good. Now, are those chickens free-range wild chickens? No. They're probably battery chickens. And if you care about that, care about that. Care about that. But no matter what chicken you're going to eat, it still has to have its neck cut off for a round. It still has to die for you. And that's the reality of life. That's the reality of life, okay? And yes, there is a sensitivity to food. There is a humane way to do that. But at the same time, folks, we have to eat. Yeah, a head of lettuce may not scream when you pick it. But here's another little thing. If I do eat vegetables, they're almost always frozen vegetables. For a couple of reasons. Number one, I don't have to throw frozen vegetables out at the end of the week. In fact, one of the reasons I shifted mostly to a carnivore eating pattern by myself is not because it's healthier or better or more effective. No, it's just easier and simpler. And my dog that's lying here right next to me doesn't eat leftover salad, but he will eat a leftover steak or a leftover hamburger. So how do I do this in my own life? Well, number one, if I do eat vegetables at all and my vegetable consumption has gone down and down and down, I buy frozen vegetables. And the other reason to buy frozen vegetables is when vegetables are flash frozen or are frozen, they can be picked at the peak of their growth cycle. So as vegetables mature, as they ripen, they get to a point where they have maximum nutritional value before they turn that corner and plummet. Fruit, which I don't eat, by the way, has a much narrower window. However, vegetables have an optimal picking window if you're going to freeze them. However, if you've got to package those vegetables fresh and ship them across the country or across the world, you're actually picking them early in their cycle and hoping that they mature outside of the earth. Well, if they have to mature or ripen or get to a point where they're edible outside of the earth, then what's packaged in that vegetable is all the nutrition you can get in. And the nutritional value from the earth gets greater and greater and greater as those vegetables get to an optimal point. So if you can eat frozen vegetables, oh my God, I can't eat frozen. Of course, they're the healthiest vegetables you can eat. Oh, except for one thing, if you grow your own. And we love to grow some tomatoes. We have a whole avocado tree that, in fact, we were doing some construction in our house and I said, please protect my avocado tree. Where did I get that avocado tree? I grew it from a pip. I grew it myself from a pip, and it's now putting out, this year we had over 1,000 avocados from one tree, and the tree's only 6 years old. So I grow my own. I relish that. You can't always grow your own. You can grow, for example, your own herbs and things, even if you live in a condo, even if you live in the north. You can put those on and have a lot of fun doing them. So you can grow your own. That's by far the best. Get frozen vegetables. Fresh vegetables are fine, but you have to buy them in limited quantity so at the end of the week you're not throwing them out. Then what else? My olive oil, Costco, for example, has very cheap olive oil. And when you look at the ratings, the cheap Kirkland brand olive oil is rated the third best, purest, healthiest olive oil that is sold commonly in this country. So all because Costco has done this, they're a great company, all because they have produced this stuff, it doesn't necessarily mean because it's inexpensive, it isn't healthy. So think that through, do your research. But there are plenty of things that we can buy. Now, the big thing of olive oil, you've got to use it up because it does go off over time. But those are places where I can lessen my spend on my nutrition. The other big less spend is OMAD. OMAD, I eat once a day. I eat once a day. And that means the 2 or 3 meals and multiple snacks are at zero cost. I drink my coffee, sometimes by mistake I'll drink water, and otherwise I'll drink flavored, sugar-free drinks that are flavored sometimes with artificial sweeteners. Oh my God, it's so bad. No, the artificial sweeteners are a hell of a lot better than the sugars. And I don't drink the orange juices and the apple juices and all those other expensive juices. I'll buy my Fresco when it's BOGO, or three bags for one. And I can store that stuff, it lasts. I've got a Diet Coke in my cupboard right now that's been there for somewhere between 4 and 5 years. And it's going to be fine because it's a Diet Coke. Now, what about my meat products? Well, first of all, we buy in bulk. We buy in bulk. And one of the 2 most important implements you need at home is a good, healthy freezer refrigerator and a vacuum sealer. And we vacuum pack a lot of our food. So I'll buy 10 or 12 pounds of hamburger meat. And the beauty is I'll make up my own little hamburgers. I make little balls. I make the ground beef. I'll make my hamburgers. I'll throw some eggs in there. Don't tell my kids. I'll throw some liver in there, chicken liver. I'll throw things into my hamburger meat as camouflage. I'll throw my spices in there. I'll throw some cheese in there. And I mix them up and I make my own hamburgers. Dirt cheap. And I can choose whether I'm buying an 80-20, a high fat, or I can do the 97-3 on my lean protein days. I've got those lean meats. I can mix that up, folks. I can mix that up. I can buy cold cuts that are on sale, and they can be the high-end boar's hog or boar's meat, meat, I buy the cheap ones that are on sale. If I'm buying ribeye steaks, I'll buy a bunch of the ribeye steaks and individually pack them. So I think the key thing there is that if you shop smartly, if you shop well, and if you make sure that each day, the day before, you defrost the food that you're going to eat that night and then be prepared for leftovers at least once, and then if there's a second leftover, you can either eat that or my dog gets my leftovers. That's the way that we food prep. And under those conditions, even if I buy a ribeye steak that may be $17, $18 for a ribeye steak, I'm not going to eat that all at once. That's a big ass steak. Sometimes I will, but most of the time I'll cut it in half and that's 2 meals. So my budget then is less than $10 a meal. If I can get the highest quality grass-fed, free-range stuff, sure. But it's not a prerequisite. And you can yell and scream at me and leave comments as you wish to. If you've got the money, do it. But never, ever, ever let your finances dictate that you have to eat carbohydrates. Because that, folks, is absolute bullshit. That is an excuse nobody in the United States of America should use from a budgetary perspective. The abundance of healthy vegetables, the abundance of healthy meats is tremendous. Tremendous. And if you're that cash strapped, you shouldn't be obese or diabetic. But think about the money that you spend on ancillary things to make you feel good. And if you spend some money on food that makes you feel good, but also helps you to be healthy, isn't that the best way to go? So I think I hear a lot from folks that, I don't have the money, I can't afford it. Of course you can. Of course you can. Of course you can. It is a choice. It is a choice. Food storage may be an issue, food preparation may be an issue. But I cook for myself. I'm a terrible chef. I screw up omelets, which is the highest grade of anything that I ever cook. But the beauty about keto and possibly even carnivore, but even if you're vegetarian, I do 2 things with my food. I chop it up and I heat it up. That's cooking 101. But that's all you need if you're keto. And what do you need? You need a pan. You need a place to heat food up. You need a knife and a chopping board and a bowl to throw your vegetables in. You don't need much, folks. You really, really, really don't need much. And I'm not telling you anything that doesn't come from my own life. This is my own lifestyle. This is how I live. If I can do it, you can do it. It's not difficult. It becomes a way of life. But budgeting and maintaining cost, staying within that realm is very doable. And the beauty about keto is you don't have to spend any money on anybody else's diet plan or eating plan. You don't have to buy any shakes or anything like that. So, in fact, just like a smoker who crumples up their cigarettes, throws them away, and puts those $5 in the jar every day towards savings of money they didn't spend on cigarettes, I would influence you and tell you, do the same thing with your food. If you're used to eating a ton of carbohydrates and snacks and eating 3 or 4 or 5 meals a day, if you're going through a lot of fast food, if you've got this massive Starbucks budget, calculate how much money you spend every day or in a week. Get that number on average, and then go OMAD keto the way I've described, and see what massive, massive savings you have. And it'll be extraordinary how much money you can actually save despite improving the quality of your food. The one thing I tell my obese patients, here's the conundrum with that. You may be saving a hell of a lot of money on food, but you sure as hell are going to spend that money on clothing down the road because you're going to look really, really good. So it doesn't always come out in the wash. But then you're spending money on things that make you feel really good rather than on buying a tent for a set of pants or a dress because you can't fit into anything that is on the other side of that aisle. Been there. Shopped on the fat side. Now I love shopping on the skinny side. So folks, don't let budget and the cost of food prevent you from eating a healthy ketogenic lifestyle. It is feasible, it is possible, and you'll actually end up saving money. Leave comments below. Do whatever you want to leave comments below. I am the Carb Addiction Doc. One other thing just to tell you, because I am a doctor, when you do your calculation of food, also factor in how much money you piss away on supplements that should come from your food. And how much money do you spend each month on medication because of your crappy standard American carbohydrate-rich diet? And if over time you eliminate those medications and don't need those supplements, and I am on no supplements and no medication. I actually take krill oil, a fish oil, which I buy for $12 for 60 tablets on Amazon. I'm cheap. Is it the best fish oil? No, but it's a pretty good fish oil. It's good enough. So you can cheapen up the way you live when it comes to eating and drinking. Do I splurge from time to time? Yes, because I can afford to, because I've saved that money. Get out there, folks, do your own budget and play that game. And if you're empowering yourself to see how little you can spend on your food, that becomes a wonderful game that is positive, rather than pissing away money on carbohydrate crap. I am the Carb Addiction Doc. Give me feedback. Put comments down below. And if you would like us to help you to budget in this regard and to figure out how you can do this, give us a shout, 561-517-0642. Phone, leave a message. You can text us or you can WhatsApp us. Take care. If I've made you think, if I've made you angry, if I've made you smile, if I've made you proud, that's what we're after. We are after empowerment. And my dog, who's lying down here, thanks me for my leftovers. Take care.